welcome to today's video. I will be updating you on the first half of my second trimester. I am currently in the second half of my second trimester, and I figured I would split up these videos into two videos for the second and third trimesters, just so that I can cover a little bit more and not make it a super long video. So second trimester, I had started to feel better towards the end of the first trimester. So with the second trimester, that definitely continued as each week passed, and I still had and still have currently some moments of fatigue, but I think those are a little bit more like if I happen to have a night where I don't sleep as well, which unfortunately has been a little bit more often this pregnancy than the last one. Last pregnancy, I slept probably the best I ever have in my life for whatever reason. I didn't really deal with a lot of insomnia, but this time there have been a few more moments of that, unfortunately. But I've been able to, take things like magnesium and use like essential oils before I go to bed. I have some like a peace and calming one, and so I spray a little bit of that on my pillow and just try and get to bed around the same time every night if I can, and make sure I don't drink too much water right before bed, so I'm not getting up to go to the bathroom. Like, just try and do those sorts of things to keep stress to a minimum when possible. Obviously, life happens, but I've been able to work around it for the most part. So I think the fatigue creeps in if I happen to have a night where I don't sleep quite as well. And then sometimes I feel like even if I do sleep well, I'll have moments of fatigue. I think maybe that's if baby's going through a growth spurt or something like that. The other thing that I still had moments of is the nausea, but it's way, way less than it was in the first trimester, and it's also not as intense. But I think because I'm dealing with some constipation and postnasal drip due to pregnancy, which I also dealt with last pregnancy, and also I have like mild seasonal allergies, so I'm sure that doesn't help. And then just a little bit of bloating sometimes, that all kind of contributes to the nausea every now and then. So because, things kept getting better, I was able to get back into walking again. Still not a ton right away because it's still cold outside, unfortunately. But as the weather started to warm up, I was able to walk more often, and once it was more consistently warm, I was doing like 2 walks a day. I would go once with Ivy and once by myself, just to have a little bit of alone time and kind of decompress. And that I find walking to be like very peaceful and therapeutic for me, so it's nice to be able to go by myself sometimes. My eating also returned to normal, which was nice. I got my appetite back. And one thing that I've noticed for this pregnancy as compared to the last pregnancy is that I crave more nutritious foods this time. And like last time, it was for whatever reason, I just craved a huge variety of foods, that like anywhere from the nutritionally dense foods to super processed foods like flaming hot Cheetos. But for whatever reason, this pregnancy, my body just doesn't want the processed foods, which is fine, obviously, but it's just weird that there's that difference this time. Same thing with, I think I mentioned this in my last video, but the sweet tooth cravings definitely have not been as intense as they were with the last pregnancy. So let's see. I started feeling a little bit of flutters around the start of the second trimester, but because I have an anterior placenta this time as opposed to the posterior last time, they were just a lot lighter flutters, and they definitely did not happen as often as, or at least that I could feel. So that's kind of sucked. I love feeling the movements. It's one of my favorite parts of pregnancy, but can't do anything about the placement of the placenta. So just something I have to live with. Now they've become more pronounced. I think around like 18 weeks is when I started feeling like actual kicks. There were still light kicks and definitely not very often, but I could definitely tell the difference between the flutters and the kicks. So our baby moon was planned for the end of May when I was 21 weeks. I'll say it was a little bit earlier this time than we took our baby moon last time, because our baby moon last time I was like 34 weeks. But we kind of have a busy summer this year, and we have a vacation planned for August with Steve's family. And if we were to do our baby moon after that, that's cutting it pretty close to the end. I don't want to be that pregnant and on my baby moon. So we just decided to go earlier this time. And so it was for when I was 21 weeks, but then we got COVID, which sucked because you go, 2.5 years doing everything possible to avoid getting it and stay healthy, and then it happens. But sometimes you can do everything that you're supposed to do and still end up getting it. And you've been vaccinated, so it was not horrible. It still sucked and, was not fun because I'm pregnant. So you just want to be extra careful, and I wanted to make sure I was doing everything that I should do to recover and all this stuff. I would say it lasted four days. Like the ends, like the tail, like when, I first got it, and then when like towards the end, so like the first and fourth days weren't as bad. Like the second and third days, when I feel like I had it like full blown, that really sucked. But for whatever reason, I also craved a lot of healthy foods during that time. So I mostly ate like smoothies and soup and salads. So a lot of nutritionally dense foods. I don't know if that helped. I have a feeling it probably certainly didn't hurt my recovery. So, but yeah, by the 5th day, I, was able to be like up and about. I just had to take it easy, and then I just, the following days had some just kind of like lingering congestion. But anyways, because of that, we ended up not going the week that we planned for our baby moon. We pushed it back a full week. So I was 22 weeks. So I'll talk more about the baby moon in my next, like the second half of my second trimester update. And I guess the last couple of things I'll talk about are the ultrasounds that I had during this part of the second trimester. At 15 weeks, we went to the same boutique place that we had gone to for the one at around 10 weeks. And we did that to confirm that the blood test was accurate for determining the sex of the baby, which it was. But again, I will be, that's in a separate video. So, but I'm not going to talk about the results in this video. So if you haven't seen that video yet, I'm not going to be spoiling it in this video, but I will probably talk about it in the next video. So, but yeah, everything was still measuring on track, and baby was looking great. It was very fun to, be able to see an ultrasound around that time, because we did not do one at 15 weeks for the first baby. We did it for this one to confirm, and two, because we had gotten the blood test through them. They give you a discount if you come back to confirm the sex of the baby. So we just decided to take advantage of that deal. Yeah, so that was really cool. And so then the other one was the big anatomy scan, and that I was 1 day shy of 20 weeks when we did that. It was supposed to be a few days after originally, and it was supposed to be a level 2 ultrasound, because I will technically be 35 by the time I deliver this baby, and so they offer the level 2 to anyone who is going to be 35. So it's like I didn't have to, but because it lined up, they offer it, so I just figured, why not? But then the person who was supposed to do it, something came up with their schedule, so we either had to do it much later if we still wanted the level 2 with that same person, because they are the only ones that do the level 2. I'll say now, like as a side note, we are getting our ultrasounds through the birth center, which was where I had been going for my first pregnancy, and it's not where I ended up. There's a whole story with that. It's in my birth vlog, the details, so I will link that below if you haven't seen it. But we ended up doing a home birth in the end, and that's what we are doing this time. So the midwife, same midwife that I had for the end of my last pregnancy, is who I have again this time. But because they don't do ultrasounds, they basically refer you to places that do ultrasounds, and you can kind of choose where you want to go. And since we're familiar with the birth center, we just decided to do our ultrasounds there. So, but yeah, the person who was supposed to do it, something came up with their schedule, and if we still wanted the level 2, we would have had to wait a lot longer. So I just opted. I knew that they had other techs that could do just the regular ultrasounds, so we opted to just do that. But side note, I will be getting a level 2 anyways in a few weeks, because if you get COVID when you're pregnant, they recommend that you get a level 2 ultrasound, just to make sure that everything is still, measuring on track, and that baby is still healthy and all that stuff. So it's my understanding that a level 2 ultrasound is just a little bit more in depth than a level 1. So I will be talking about that in my next video. But yeah, so we got the results back from the 20-week anatomy scan afterwards, and everything was normal, and baby was being cooperative for the most part, so we were able to get a lot of good shots. Our tech was super nice and wanted to make sure we had some fun with it, and she would definitely pause like in between taking the photos that she needed to get, just talk to us about baby and show us different things, and if there were any like cute or funny poses, she would definitely stop to take some for us. So we definitely got some good ones, so I will insert those right now. So I think that wraps up everything that I wanted to talk about for the first half of the second trimester. So I will try to do some bump updates from here till the end. I didn't do one for the first trimester because there really wasn't much to show, but sorry, my video cut out because I ran out of storage. But I was saying that I will preface this bump update with the fact that I am currently in the second half of my second trimester. I am almost 23 weeks. So it's not quite an accurate bump update, but it's pretty close. So this is almost 23 weeks, but so I definitely have popped just a little bit more than if it were actually the end of the first half of the second trimester, like 20-ish weeks, but this is still not like super far off, and definitely showing more at this stage than I was last time, but that's typical with second pregnancies. So, and the dress I'm wearing today is from Pink Blush Maternity. It's super comfortable, so I highly recommend. I will try to link it in the description box. So yeah, that is the bump update. So I think that covers everything for the first half of the second trimester. And if you have any questions or comments about your experiences or anything you want to ask me, leave those in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will keep you guys updated with the rest of this pregnancy. Hopefully all continues to go well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.